Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 369 of the Ping Pong Flix Show, and I've got a couple DC updates. First of all, it's a continuation from yesterday. Today apparently is a hashtag AskAva, meaning asking Ava Duvernay many questions about anything related to Ava Duvernay. And so a lot of fans have been asking about other stuff, but actually almost all of them are asking her about the New Gods movie that she's going to do. She relates about talking to Tom King and actually having him work with her on that script. She's a big fan of New Gods, which we've heard already. There are also a couple of things where she says, someone asks her about what about Darkseid? She answers Darkseid is, confirming that Darkseid will be in the film, and of course we all know that would happen. The movie's called New Gods. Someone also asked, are we going to see the Furies in New Gods? Please tell me. Hashtag AskAva. Ava Duvernay answers, how could any self-respecting Barda fan not include the Furies? I'm looking forward to them so much. So that also confirms Big Barda, also confirms our female Furies. The female Furies are trained by Granny Goodness. They serve Darkseid and Apocalypse, so you'll see a lot of that. You'll also pretty much confirming Granny Goodness as well. I think they're all going to be in this film. Now, when it comes to anybody she's cast, she is saying that she's not thinking of anybody at the moment. There's nobody cast in the roles at the moment, although she does say that 99.9% of the time she always casts a person that she used in her previous film. So that means you can look over the cast over the Netflix movie When They See Us to see if you can try spot anybody there that could possibly have a major or even a minor role in New Gods. But that is pretty much it about that. She did not respond to a lot of questions in regards to if this movie is set in the existing DCEU. Is it going to be a black label? What type of film this is going to be? And which part of this universe, if at all, is any case? She did not respond to any of that, so hopefully we'll hear more about that. We have a lot of people talking about having Ray Porter be Darkseid once again, and calling out Release The Snyder Cut under her AskAva as well. Of course, she does not answer to any of those. She might have even blocked a few of those, and I do not think for a person like her, Ava Duvernay, she probably start casting somebody else in the role of Darkseid, unfortunately. But I think she won't be using Ray Porter, which is fine because this is a movie that she wants to make. But I wonder if this is connected to DCEU. In any case, will we see the Justice League Steppenwolf in this one? Are they going to refer to anything like that? Or is this like a Joker movie, if this is her retelling of New Gods in her own way, and not having to be connected to anything else within the DCEU? And so that's probably one of my biggest questions in terms of New Gods and what could come of that. And it's a big one. I mean, everybody's thinking that same question as well. So hopefully when this movie gets to a more better point in the pre-production, because they're still working on the script right now, but when it gets to the point where they're going to really start making sets and stuff, I think that question will be answered, if at all. I'm not sure, but I think we will get a general idea of where this movie will take place, or if it will take place its own type of universe by itself. All right, but speaking of other things that could have been, especially when we talk about Ray Porter and Darkseid, there's another thing that could have been, and that was the Ben Affleck's version of Batman. This was talking to Robert Richardson, who worked with Ben Affleck on the DP for Live by Night. He talked to Josh Horowitz on a podcast, and which I'll link that podcast in the description below. But I want to pull some things that Richardson had said. Ben Affleck was indeed planning on setting the movie inside Arkham Asylum. Richardson said this: "I wanted to shoot Batman with Ben Affleck because that was the next film we had. There was a script, but not a loved script. There was a lot of work he was going to do to it to change it. Well, he was going into more insanity aspects. He was entering more into the Arkham. He was going into where everyone was bad." And Horowitz asks, "I'm a comic book geek, as you can imagine. We've never really seen Arkham Asylum." Richardson says, "No, that's where we were going. I was very interested in that." And that clearly shows how much he was putting involved into making to going into the deeper aspects of Batman, in that borderline between insanity and non-insanity, and going through Arkham Asylum, which was one of the most, if at the most, beloved game series of Batman's video game career. And it's an awesome game, and it's got some great storytelling, and it's just that aspect of a movie would have been such a fantastic thing. And we've heard from Jay Oliva that this movie was going to be the Batman movie. It's going to have Deathstroke involved in it as well. It would have been really crazy and awesome, and I think I would agree to that. It's unfortunately that's not what's going to be made. At least we don't think so. There still could be the Batman noir, but in Arkham Asylum, that could happen. But I kind of doubt it, because I feel like an Arkham Asylum movie is a little bit more thrilling, a little bit more, maybe possibly even fast-paced. Imagine Judge Dredd, in the Carl Urban Judge Dredd, being stuck in a building and having to fight his way through it and out of it, or even what this one was going to be. David Goyer actually was going to make something similar to this, in which Green Arrow was in the Supermax prison and fighting his way through that Arkham Asylum style. So I think it's really sad to hear this and say that we were so close. We're definitely so close in getting that definitive Arkham Asylum Batman movie. And I hope that in the future, at least, when it gets closer to when the studio can actually, my God, damn phone. Mute. Okay. So I hope in the future, the studio, Warner Brothers, after they've gone through the whole Batman trilogy or whatever, or even in the trilogy, they come to a point in time where they can get to an Arkham Asylum type story, something in that route, something much thrilling and stuff like that. Not that the other movies weren't thrilling, but I think that aspect of Arkham Asylum is such a interesting and a captivating and a suspenseful type of Batman film that I would love to see live action, and I think it will work very well. And they could keep within the budgets. They could make it scary also. They can make it crazy insane, but him going through traps or whatever, going through different villains, having to figure out how to defeat different villains. I think that is a movie that needs to be made, and I can't believe we almost got it and we'll never get to see it from now on. But hopefully, like I said, there'll be more of that later, coming later through the studio. And then it comes next to the next big topic, and this is coming from Variety, and this is all about Ann Sarnoff. The Variety article says this: how Warner Brothers' new CEO Ann Sarnoff is approaching the future of media. There's a lot of stuff in here that you know about. A lot of things that you pull out, and it's just kind of corporate verbiage, if you will. But I like to kind of pinpoint some of the things that are related to DC, if I may. Ann Sarnoff has yet to begin her new job as chairman, CEO of Warner Brothers, but she already has deep family ties to the entertainment company. When she made her first visit to the Burbank lot last month, she was touched to find the studio staffers had framed for her a memo. her father-in-law, Bill Sarnoff, wrote back in 1977 approving a then-unknown Christopher Reeve to play the Man of Steel in the studio's first live-action Superman film. Bill Sarnoff, who worked with the legendary Steve Ross in the late 1960s, had orchestrated the acquisition of DC Comics for Ross Kinney Corp in 1968. The superhero troupe became part of Warner Brothers the following year when Kinney Corp bought the studio. Flash forward 50 years and the DC Trove is more important to the studio's health than ever. So that's the part I wanted to bring up because it makes a lot of it makes me feel good in the sense that they started off this article with Superman. They started off with Christopher Reeve and stuff, and they understand the legacy involved with Warner Brothers in DC, and they're understanding that DC is very important. How does that translate to Release the Snyder Cut? I'm not sure. But having them notice that DC is in a property that needs to be utilized more, that used to be taken care of, that possibly needs to be budgeted for even more, I think that is a great thing for them to say, and I hope that is true, and I hope they really put a lot of effort into the DC properties because it is a big property, and if they are able to finance it more than just smaller budget films with horror directors. Not that horror directors are wrong. I'm just saying what they're doing is it's smaller budgets, utilizing horror directors and stuff like that. And if they could give those horror directors bigger budgets, larger budgets, kind of like what they did with Zack Snyder, kind of like what they've done with James Gunn, or all these other horror directors, and making larger, big budgeted films, and making these giant spectacles, but I think I would be pretty excited for that because as of yet it's seeming like they're really concentrating on the smaller materials, things that they can movies they can make with the smaller budget, not a lot of special effects and stuff. Of course I could be wrong because they're looking like they're planning to do New Gods, and that's gonna probably be a lot of special effects. Who knows? They're gonna do Wonder Woman 84. I'm not sure how advanced the spectacle needs to be in that movie. Is it going to be a smaller scale or a larger scale? Who knows? But I feel like I miss those days with the gigantic epic feel to it that we and the spectacle of it when you see in Man of Steel, when you see in Batman v Superman, you see in Wonder Woman even. A lot of people don't like the Wonder Woman final battle, but I don't understand that because I actually really enjoy Wonder Woman's final battle. It's awesome. It's big. It's God versus God. That's the kind of stuff I love, and so I really miss that type of spectacle in a movie. Justice League could have gotten there, I'm sure the Snyder Cut had those huge, epic battling moments that was completely cut down in the Justice League version of the movie, the theatrical version of the movie. So I'm really interested in hoping to see more of that spectacle. Kind of even like Aquaman, that was a giant CGI spectacle. I love those. That's the type of movie that you go to watch into the movie theaters for. For the other smaller films, it's like I could watch that at home. But when you go to the movie theaters, you want that giant experience. You want the big screen. You want the large IMAX. You want the sound effects roaring in your ears and things like that. Your chairs trembling. That's a blockbuster experience. And I know there's DC stories don't have all blockbuster experience, but I hope they're not afraid and not held back to actually want to do that once again. So it'd be another Justice League movie. It could be Batman, Superman, Apocalypse. It could be Kingdom Come. Those types of movies. I hope they're not afraid to tap into that. And so just listening to this and starting it off with talking just a very, very small part about DC and how the DC Trove is very more important to studios' health than ever, then I think this actually just means that they are really putting in effort to make the DC universe work. And I think that's great. And I hope that also in a smaller realm of that role, that they are listening, and Walter Hamada is kind of like, okay, let's see what we can do with Release the Snyder Cut. Let's see what we can utilize with what we have, like 80 to 90% of material, or however much they have of the Snyder Cut that they could release or work on. But until then, people are continuing to fight for it, continuing to ask for it. And after project success of the San Diego Project Comic-Con, and in getting a lot of that word out there in the masses, getting a lot of these giant bursts of articles and having it trend in Google and whatnot, they decided to go ahead. So again, the Project Comic-Con is coming back together, and Will Rowlands put this out on the GoFundMe page, a new Project Comic-Con, this time for the New York Comic-Con. He put this statement out. Following the huge success of Project Comic-Con that helped us raise almost $15,000 for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention in the name of Release the Snyder Cut community, we want to continue increasing the hype and spreading the truth about the Snyder Cut of Justice League while spreading awareness for mental health. We will do this by targeting the New York Comic-Con 2019, which goes out in October 3rd to the 6th of 2019. In San Diego, you helped raise in excess of $26,000, and a lot was achieved, including the funding of a banner, flight, a billboard, a bus wrap, an ad in the Hollywood Reporter, and a ground team at the convention. We realize that you've given so much, and have decided that in New York we can still achieve great buzz while having a simpler and more streamlined campaign. There will not be multiple levels. We have one clear and financially modest plan. We have two objectives: a digital video billboard in Times Square, New York, for one day on October 5th. The billboard will play for 15 seconds every 2 minutes for 12 hours, from midday to midnight. The quote for the billboard is $1,871, doubled for AFSP. We will need to raise $3,742. And a ground team presence for the entire duration of the convention. We want to be more visible than before on the ground, walk amongst attendees, show them the human side of us. We want to engage with as many people as possible, encourage them to all fill out our survey and get more information about the Snyder Cut. For SnyderCut.com, we estimate the ground team will require around $850 to cover the cost for leaflets, merchandise to hand out. Doubled for AFSP, we would need to raise $1,700. Therefore, to fully fund New York Comic-Con Snyder Cut campaign and our AFSP donation, we need to raise $5,442, rounded up to cover GoFundMe fees. We have set our target at $6,000. We realize how generous you have already been, and therefore no more will be asked for you for this project. This again is a huge task for the fandom, but we believe we can do this as a community. We have increased awareness for suicide prevention and raised vital funds, approximating to $106,000 for AFSP. Let's add to that number. So currently they are sitting at $1,760, raise of $6,000 goal. It only started today. That's fascinating. That's incredible stuff. So this was the tease that at RT Snyder Cut was putting out with that Release the Snyder Cut logo, and it did match New York Comic Con. So a lot of us kind of knew this would be the next step, in addition to the Ann Sarnoff letter that's going out next month. September. So this is great news and fantastic news to see that they're just chipping away. They're just going to keep bringing that noise. And my God, I can't wait to see that. And I have no doubt they'll reach that point. But an actual New York billboard in New York Times Square. Imagine that. Times Square, just and Release the Snyder Cut. It's probably going to be Ramesh De Silva's wonderful, exquisite designs, and it's going to be absolutely fabulous, just flashing on there, and to remind people for have people like, what's going on with that, and I think that's going to be so exciting, and I can't wait to see that actually happening. That's going to be huge. I believe that's going to be huge. But if you can't wait for the Snyder Cut and you're still there, you're wondering, you're trying to get something different from the theatrical cut of Justice League, there are many cuts out there, but there is one cut that is going to rise above it all. No offense, no degrading anybody else's effort to make their own cut. That's not my intention. But there is one man and possibly a team of them, because he got Geraldo Cortez to do the original music for. This man is Chris Dawson, and we've talked about his cut for a long time now. He put out a new clip of his Justice League Black Suit edition. This one's for Ray Fisher, he says. This is an amazing clip. He's able to bring back all the cut parts of Cyborg doing his first flight. He's doing his first flight and interplace with kind of memories of him as in the football field and stuff like that, and with original music from Geraldo Cortez. This is amazing stuff. I mean, what the F, man? This is awesome. I mean, this is another movie altogether. I cannot wait to see this. I'm going to say it right now. This is probably going to be the movie of the year, and it's not made in a studio. It's made by a fan who really wants to see the Snyder Cut, a fan who really did not like the Justice League movie got in theatrical, and he wants to make his own type of Justice League, this Black Suit edition. It is beyond any other cut, any other fan-made cut we have ever seen. This is an entirely new story. And that's something to be really excited about this year. We may not get an official Release The Snyder Cut. We're not going to get an official Snyder Cut Justice League maybe for a while, but we can at least feast our eyes on something completely different and probably better than the Justice League theatrical cut, and that is Justice League the Black Suit edition. So that is it for tonight. If you have any, just a little bit more, you can go ahead and go to the GoFundMe page. I'll link that in the description below. And if you can't put out anything, that's fine. Just at least share it if you can. Share it around and tag it and share it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you can. Just spread the word, spread the awareness for the Release the Snyder Cut campaign, Project Comic-Con 2, which is going to be at New York Comic Con. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.